Let me zoom in and show you. Behind me, there are over 2,000 unsold vehicles packed tightly together. Most of these cars were repossessed from dealerships and 4S stores that went bankrupt. This is Liangshan, Shandong, and these are mostly new cars that have been sitting in inventory for about 3 years, but their prices are now much lower than brand new models. Seeing so many unsold cars lined up like this isn't a good sign. It means new cars are getting harder to sell and losing value faster. To me, this reflects the decline of the entire industry. Do you think there's still a chance for a recovery?
So many of them have been abandoned. Look at these trucks. Just take a look. Row after row of white vans, barely used. Some were registered, driven a few thousand kilometers, and then left here. Look around. There's so many of them. I've completely lost count. Some have company logos on them, some don't. You see brands like Guo Guo Ride and La La Ride. I don't even know how to put this into words. Just think about how much money the original owners lost on these vehicles. How much financial strain did their families go through? Never mind, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. There are just so many of them. It's like they've all turned into scrap metal. Under the shadow of China's economic slowdown, the freight industry's downturn has turned parking lots nationwide into fields of idle trucks. Online videos show thousands of stationary trucks, symbolizing not just struggling families, but an entire industry at a standstill. With the 2025 Lunar New Year over, the freight sector faces intense pressure. Declining market demand across industries has hit trucking hard. Many drivers are unemployed this year, and semi-truck drivers are idle, while those working earn far less. For independent truckers, 2025 feels like a harsh winter. Let's hear from some of these drivers. I drove 4,500 kilometers from Xinjiang to Guangxi and only made a little over 1,000 yuan. You might not believe it, but that's the reality. There's no cargo for the return trip, so I just took whatever I could find. But there's really nothing left to do now. My truck cost me nearly 500,000 yuan, and at this rate, I won't be able to break even in 5 years. I've seen it. There are just too many trucks on the road. With prices this low, if I don't take the job, someone else will. That's just how it works. If things keep going like this, many truck drivers will leave the industry, especially newcomers who joined without experience. After the holiday, I took one job, but my truck had been idle at the station since. The rates are too low, just over 1 or 2 yuan per kilometer. It's not only fewer orders, shippers and platforms are slashing prices, and our costs are high. Drivers are struggling. Diesel trucks can't compete. Only electric ones manage. Fuel, insurance, tolls, and loans are crushing us. A single trip often doesn't cover fuel and tolls. Many drivers are just trying to survive, but after all expenses, what's left? To make a bit more, we drive day and night, eating instant noodles and sleeping in our trucks, rushing to finish one job for the next. Low rates mean more jobs, even loss-making ones, just to get by. Post-pandemic, the recovery never came. Those still in the business are barely hanging on. How long can independent truckers like me last? I'm planning to sell my truck. I can't keep going. Is there a future in this? Can we even survive? The industry feels like it's collapsing, and I'm at my limit. In October 2023, I bought a Maxus electric van with a loan, costing 150,000 yuan. Now it's worth only 88,000 yuan. The price just dropped today. I've worked tirelessly, cutting back on food and clothes, eating 1 meal a day. After a year in freight, I earned 60,000 yuan, but it's not enough to cover the depreciation. It's as if I drove over 100,000 kilometers for nothing. I got the EV to save on fuel, but they depreciate fast. I spend 2 hours charging daily, and my fuel savings just offset the price drop. I still owe over 80,000 yuan on the loan. It feels like I've been a free tester for the manufacturer this past year. Now, in 2025, freight rates have fallen again, and platform fees have doubled. How can we keep going? Intense price competition has created significant challenges for logistics companies, making it increasingly difficult to operate sustainably. In an effort to secure more shipments, some firms continue lowering prices to attract customers. However, this practice often leads to a cycle of aggressive undercutting, putting pressure on the entire industry. Additionally, issues such as platform commission structures and unfair pricing practices have further complicated the market, creating new obstacles for freight operators. China has an estimated 10 million large trucks, with over 70% privately owned. Many drivers take out personal loans to purchase their vehicles and depend on freight platforms to find shipping orders. Each province has its own platform, but the largest, Manbang, is expanding into a nationwide service. As a result, competition among freight platforms has intensified, with major companies pushing to capture market share, leading to further price reductions. For every shipment, freight platforms take a 30% commission, similar to ride-hailing services. When competition increases, freight rates decline. Despite lower earnings, many drivers continue to work, as they still need to cover living expenses and loan payments. Since platforms control the flow of orders, drivers have limited alternatives and often have no choice but to accept reduced rates. Another challenge is the cost of toll roads. Since 2023, some highways that had previously stopped charging tolls have reinstated them. Local governments facing financial constraints have turned to toll collection as a way to generate revenue. A 52-year-old truck driver named Zhang told Chinese media that on a recent trip from Guangzhou to Beijing, he earned 12,000 yuan in freight fees but spent 4,000 yuan on fuel and 5,800 yuan on tolls. Given these costs, the driver, who has worked in the industry for 25 years, said he was considering selling his truck and leaving the business. A truck driver in Hebei named Chen said he tried to save on tolls by taking national roads, but ended up receiving 12 traffic fines, totaling 3 times the cost of highway tolls. He noted that national roads tend to have a higher risk of fines, making them a less viable alternative. Data from the China Federation of Logistics and Purchasing shows tolls rose from 18% of transportation costs in 2000 to 35% in 2023, far above the 10% average in Western countries. A 6-axle truck traveling from Harbin to Shenzhen pays 18,000 yuan in tolls one way, equivalent to earnings from 3 trips for a driver working without brakes. This cost structure triggers broader issues. A Shenzhen logistics owner calculated his company's net profit margin dropped from 8% in 2020 to 2.3% in 2023. Running trucks now feels like gambling. Traffic jams or accidents can wipe out profits. Worse, some provinces charge overtime fees for resting too long at service areas, adding financial strain to the industry. With no recovery in sight, many drivers are seeking other work. Experts say mass exits signal the industry's breaking point, making persistence futile. Veteran drivers argue it's better to cut losses and try new ventures or jobs with stable income than keep driving trucks. Shanghai entrepreneur living in the U.S., Hu Li-ren, shared that truck drivers face significant challenges and belong to a unique industry. He explained that because trucking is a cross-regional business, multiple authorities, including transportation, public security, and judicial departments, can impose various restrictions on drivers. He shared a conversation with a friend in China who owns a transportation company specializing in school bus services. Despite having a profitable business and operating vehicles for only 4 years, with around 50,000 kilometers of mileage, the company failed this year's inspection due to non-compliant emissions. Hu Li-ren says many government agencies facing budget shortages are generating revenue by imposing stricter regulations on service providers. A friend of his felt forced to close his business, finding it unsustainable. Hu sees this as part of China's broader economic struggles. Liangshan, former chief compliance officer at a Chinese asset management firm, noted that during economic downturns, trucks are underutilized due to declining demand and revenue. Yet drivers still face extra costs like checkpoint fees, making it hard to operate. He views trucking as a microcosm of China's economic slowdown affecting all industries. China's manufacturing slowdown has cut demand for raw material transport, while e-commerce growth slows parcel delivery expansion. Intense price wars keep freight rates low, and logistics firms struggle in a competitive market. Yang, a veteran transport operator from Shandong, handles freight rentals like furniture delivery and short-haul logistics, also taking orders via platforms like Hualala and Yangmangmang. Recently, on Douyin, he voiced concerns about a sharp drop in freight volumes in 2025, worrying industry professionals.
大家好，我是搞货运平台的杨叔。
Hello everyone, I'm Yang from the freight platform business. Today is February 18th, and it's been over 10 days since we launched our dedicated Shandong logistics line. This year, cargo volume is much lower than in previous years at this time. It feels like factories haven't started production yet, with shipments dropping sharply. Normally, our business would be thriving now, but it's unusually quiet. It's not just our Shandong line. Other routes in our logistics park are experiencing the same slowdown. The park feels empty, doesn't it? I'm based in Dongguan, known as the world's factory. If there's no cargo here, there's likely even less elsewhere. Other trucking businesses are probably struggling too. They say 2024 is tough for business. Will it get worse? No shipments for logistics means factories aren't producing, which shows a broader economic challenge. The past few years have been hard for those of us in physical businesses, especially in manufacturing. I've been in freight for years, and I've seen how much factory owners are struggling, often more than we are. The broader economic downturn is also affecting the manufacturing sector, with exports declining and foreign trade orders plummeting. Many factories that rely on overseas business have seen a sharp drop in orders and profits. As a key economic indicator, the freight industry has been directly impacted by these shifts. A Guangdong-based electronics manufacturer used to transport 5,000 tons of goods per month, but due to changes in the global economic environment, its overseas orders fell by 30% in the second half of 2024, reducing its monthly transportation volume to around 3,500 tons. This trend is not unique, as many small and medium-sized enterprises, lacking the resources to withstand financial pressures, are struggling to maintain operations in the face of economic challenges. Truck drivers in China face not only financial struggles, but also social issues like family tensions and community instability. Frustrated with their conditions, some have initiated a strike. According to yesterdayprotest.com, a nationwide trucker strike began at midnight on March 1st, sparked by reports of a driver's death on the road due to harsh circumstances. Their demands include higher freight rates, lower platform fees, fair pricing, and fewer fines and regulations. To secure better conditions, drivers across regions have joined the protest against low rates and high commissions. Dubbed the Wheel Revolution, it began on social media and spread rapidly. From March 1st, many drivers shared videos online, announcing their participation, noting fewer trucks on the roads. Yet some report that many continue working, with platforms still active and transport largely unaffected. Searches on Baidu, like "Is the March 1st truck stoppage real?" spiked but were quickly removed. This strike highlights broader issues in logistics and the economy. As a vital sector, logistics affects social stability and growth. Unresolved demands could lead to more disruptions, impacting China's economy further.